hopefully you can hear me now. I'm seeing levels in OBS now, so should be good. So now that I just said all that to myself, didn't even realize I should have checked the levels before I started. Thanks for pointing that out, Almas. I really appreciate that. Well, as I was saying, long story short, had a long weekend. That's why I haven't streamed since last Thursday. Girlfriend's family was in town, and I didn't stream yesterday because I needed a day to catch up on some work, because 3 days longer than usual without doing any work or streaming. So I had to catch up on some work, and I just took the day to do that, to catch up on work and also do a bunch of chores around the house. Like, I had a lot of stuff to clean up after the long weekend, so yeah. But I'm back today. I'm back. Shouldn't be too long of a stream tonight. It's already getting kind of late, but I wanted to hop on at least for a little while to get back to work on the UI we were working on last week. So here I am. It should be fun. So last time, we already finished up. We've got the title screen in a good place. So now we're moving on to the settings menu. But before I actually build all the functionality for the settings menu here in Unreal, I'm gonna go ahead and take some time to kind of design and think out the architecture of the menu system first, so that I can identify similar components and group them together, identify certain widget styles that will be used throughout, and sort of identify like a style that I want to go for, and also to kind of do an inventory of all the settings that I think I probably want to cover in the menus. So yeah, I feel like it's good anytime you're designing any sort of UI, it's good to kind of do that kind of stuff first. To me, at least, I work better this way before you start building stuff, because if I just jump in here and start building UI, if I start scripting functionality and come in here and just design widget layouts, then for something this complicated, the settings menu, which is going to be, it's going to have a few different nested levels with, several settings per level. With something like this, if I just jump in and start doing it, then if I run into problems, then it's going to be a lot harder to change. Whereas if I think about it outside of Unreal first, if I come in to do a document, I'm probably gonna write up like a little document for just to kind of do like a bullet point list of all the settings and kind of the nested levels. If you think about that architecture first, you can identify patterns and things like that, patterns and recurring styles before you get into here, and that will influence how I build the UI in Unreal, and it will help me build something that's more efficient and has less duplicate code and duplicate styles. So that's what I'm going for. Okie dokie. So we'll minimize Unreal for now, and I think I got a document open in Affinity Designer. This is probably where I'm gonna go to kind of get an idea of the style and the look and feel of each type of widget, not every individual section, you know what I mean? It's weirdly exciting as you get closer to a state of completion with, oh yeah, absolutely. And for doing things this way, for something like a menu, like UI, it's it takes longer to get to that feeling where you're like, oh, it's almost done, it's coming together. It takes longer to get there. You go through a longer period up front where it doesn't really look like anything cohesive, but towards the end, it's so much more worth it. The results are just much better, I find. It's weird to me because I'm not directly involved with the building process yet. I'm excited to see you get to a point where people can experience the game. That's I actually think about that a lot. I think about that a lot, how right now, you guys are just kind of watching me build all of these just disparate parts. I'm working on UI, and I do UI, I work on this mechanic, and I script this mechanic, implement this art, do this audio. In the end, when it all comes together in a game, and you walk through a level, you pause and you see the menu, and you hear the sounds when you walk around, you solve a puzzle. Like once that all comes together and you start hearing and seeing and feeling all those things together, like that's the most exciting thing, I think. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to start streaming the development of this game, is because I thought it'd be cool for you guys to be around for more of the development, so that when that happens, it's not just me and Jess experiencing it on our own. We get to experience it kind of together with the rest of you guys. You know, more of you guys are kind of invested in like anticipating like what's this gonna look like when it's completed, when there's like a game here to play, a finished game. And that'll be just really exciting to share that with you guys. Okay, so I got this for working on the visual stuff and figuring out what style each UI widget is gonna have. And when I say UI widget, by the way, I mean like, you know what, actually let's just go ahead and so like I got an example here. Well, actually I'm not sure if I should show some YouTube videos on my stream, but if I'll pull up a screenshot of a good menu for a game. Looking at the Borderlands 2 option menu for one of my reference points, it's pretty good, which is of course why I was looking at it. But if I can just pull up a good screenshot of it really quick for you, so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. Videos, screenshots. Okay, here we go. This is a decent looking screenshot. So, oops. So, here's kind of a screenshot from the Borderlands 2 settings menu, just as an example to show you when you hear me say UI widget. In this case, what I'm probably talking about is, actually, let me go ahead and just bring this into. I'm gonna like open up a markup tool so I can draw on this screenshot. It'd be a lot easier to illustrate what I'm talking about. Where are you? Oh, I guess this is probably it. Oh, let me just save this real quick. Okay, and then maybe it'll be easier to just do this in Paint. I don't know. Never used Paint 3D, which is like the new Paint in Windows 10 now. Let's see. Couldn't open. Something went wrong. Well, it looks open to me. That was weird. Okay, so I need a better color. There we go. Okie dokie. So when I say like UI widget, I'm talking about like, so here we're in the main menu, down to the options section, and in the options menu, we're in the video section here. So when I say a widget, I'm probably talking about a particular setting. So like this, for example, texture quality, that's going to be like, it's going to be like a certain kind of component or a widget. Maybe I should start saying component so you know what the difference, because in UE4, widget means like you know, it could just be like, this is a text widget, this is a selector widget. But when I say widget, I'm talking about like a component of the UI. So like this whole component here, that text label together with this setting in thingy here, this thingy. So like that type is like, I think that's called a selector, like a number selector, where you have what it is in the middle, and then you click left and right. So that's like a particular type of widget. Whereas you could also have like a drop-down menu. You could have a slider, kind of like this up here for the zoom, like a slider like that. Or you could have a radio button or a checkbox. So those are like different styles of widgets. So I want to figure out like, just kind of like figure out once. What do I want a radio button style option to look like? What do I want the checkbox option to look like? what do I want the drop down to look like, what do I want the selector to look like. So you figure those all out first, because those are all going to look the same throughout the whole settings menu. So you want to figure out those different components, the look and feel of them first, and then make all of those consistent. It's a lot less to work with. Then you're talking about like 4 or 5, maybe 6 different style of components. And then, you know, it doesn't matter how many of each of those you have. You're gonna have them all look consistent, instead of, and like there's a way in here where there's a couple of methods here in UMG, the Unreal Motion Graphics, which is what the what you see here, the UI editor in Unreal Engine 4. It's got some methods for handling the situations where you want to have a particular kind of widget that's already pre-styled. You can bring it in as a child widget and then kind of copy and paste as many as you need. So I'm going to be doing that instead of like saying, here, give me a text widget and give me an overlay or whatever. I can actually come in here. I can define those as unique widgets out here. Like I can make a drop-down widget. I can make, you know, the radio button widget. I can make the checkbox, etc. And then I can bring them in here as user-created widgets. They all show up here, any custom widgets that I make. And I can bring them in here, and they'll already be pre-styled, they'll be ready to go, and then I just have to fill out the content. So that'll make things a lot easier too. So you could see I'm kind of thinking about this in a modular fashion. I'm trying to kind of break the whole system down into all the individual components and categories first before I build it, so that when I build it, I can build it a lot more quickly and efficiently. So with that said, I think this is good. It's just for illustration purposes. So with that said, I think I'm gonna get started with writing some stuff down. Honestly, or start writing down kind of the architecture of the menus. Just want to get a feel for how complex this menu is going to be. Not my Twitter, no. I don't know why I dragged that over here. Huh. There we go. Got my Dropbox paper doc here. And let's see. So right off the bat, we're gonna have stuff like the top level categories. You see like the different screens in the settings menu. Let's see here. First of all, let's say this is the architecture for our menu system. So the top level is the main menu, right? Well, it's the same menu. Actually, I wonder, see, this is an interesting thing to consider too. How different are the main menu and the pause menu going to be? They're going to share a lot of characteristics, but they're going to be there's going to be some differences, since the main menu is on the title screen, pause menu is summoned in game. I think the main difference is going to be that the main menu is going to have, they're both going to have settings, they're both going to have quit. But the pause menu is just going to have like resume playing where you are now, unpause basically. Whereas the main menu is going to have like new game, load game, and a continue option to just automatically start resume your most current save game. So let's not make that generic. Let's say main menu, let's say pause menu. Those are both the two kind of top levels. So the main menu is going to be continue, only shows if save game exists. Below that's going to be new game. Below that is going to be, well, I would put load game if I want to have like save slots where you can go to a screen and select, you can save like multiple different slots. And I think I do want to give people that option. I think so. Not 100% certain I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna put it there for now. Load game, settings, and quit. Now I'm kind of on the fence about whether or not to say settings or options. And I'm also on the fence about whether or not to say quit or exit. So that's kind of up in the air right now. I haven't made that decision yet, but for now we're just gonna go with something, one of the two, settings and quit. That's kind of my instinct, so that's why I put down first. We'll see if that sticks though. So here's the important stuff, the complicated stuff. So settings. I'm gonna say that the first section is gonna be game settings. This will be like game specific stuff, like, you know, show the crosshair, yes or no. Like show the HUD, maybe scale the HUD. Let's see, something like, don't think I'm gonna have difficulty modes in this, but that would be a good thing too, if to put the difficulty selector in this menu as well. Let's see, I know I'm forgetting something important. Something, show crosshair, show HUD. Oh, like show tutorials. So any sort of like prompts that I pop up to say like what button does what, I think it'd be good to have an option to turn those off, because if you're playing through a second time, if you start a new game after you've already played through, or even if you've played it before and you start a new game or whatever, you don't want the first level to like tell you how to play again. So maybe I could have it so that you could just turn those off and never have to worry about them again. I wonder. Yeah, I would say so. So, whoops, game. Well, first of all, before I go too deep on that, let's see. Sections and settings are probably gonna be game, controls. Also on the fence, do I say controls or input? I'm not sure. Or do I break it out into subsections right now? Like instead of doing controls and then going in one level and saying mouse and keyboard and then controller, I could do that. Or I could just break these out at the top level here. I could just say mouse and keyboard and controller right off the bat. That might be good. That would of course change the behavior visually of how the game tells you whether a controller is plugged in or not. I could take the route that's more kind of automated and just only show the controller configuration if you have a controller config. I don't know if how easy it is for me to actually do that, to have Unreal automatically detect when you plug in a controller and then update the menu right then and there, you know, add the controller settings. It probably is. Either way, I would need to detect if you plugged it in right away, because the other option I would have would be to do like where it says mouse and keyboard and controller. If you don't have a controller plugged in, then controller is like grayed out. You can't, and it has no hover state. So that's an option too. Let's see. I don't want to get too nested. Excuse me. So maybe I will break out mouse and keyboard and controller. Actually, keyboard and mouse seems like it should come first. Keyboard, mouse, controller, or do I just do controls? Let's see what they look like. So controls, then you would go down, keyboard and mouse, and then you go down again. Then you'd have like key bindings, invert, mouse look, mouse sensitivity, etc. So I guess that's not too bad. That's about as many nested levels. So how would it feel though? So let's say you're clicking through, you'd say controls and then keyboard and mouse, and then you have to go and change a setting. That is putting an extra step between you and the action you want to complete. That's not good. I want to put as few steps as possible between you and the thing you want to accomplish. I feel like that's the best UIs have as few steps as possible between the, you know, to get to whatever result you're looking to achieve. That's just a general rule of thumb, I think. So I'm inclined to, so the problem is, like, what if we add more input styles, right? If we add, like, so we have keyboard and mouse, and then we add controller. What if we add like VR, you know, motion controller? That menu, I mean, that menu will get bigger. But if we do it if we nest it inside of a controls category, then this top level menu here where it says game, controls, audio, video, that'll never get any bigger. But at the risk of making that menu potentially get bigger over time, what I could do is break these out there, move them up a level. So let's say game, keyboard and mouse, controller, and then you'd say like audio and video. Not terrible. I feel like that's not bad. But I guess I just wonder, would it be better to have controls? Of course, let's see. Settings, game, keyboard and mouse, controller, audio. So I'm not sure about this because this game will only ever get nested. You know, there'll be a setting here, whatever. And then same thing with audio. Audio and video will both only ever be nested so much. So I wonder, because this would make it more consistent. Controller, then you come in here and you do controller settings. Keyboard mouse, you come in here and do keyboard mouse settings, right? Whereas if I group them under the controls category, then we're doing something like, hold on, I think the easiest way to do this would be this. Oops. Yep. Let me just get rid of these guys. So then you have this, right? Keyboard and mouse, and then you come in another level and have, you know, bindings, etc. So you click settings, controls, keyboard and mouse. So that's an extra level of, yeah, so that extra level of nesting, I would have to account for that in the design. So that's another reason why I'm kind of like on the fence about that. How far, you don't want to nest too far, for the sake of the design and for the sake of usability. Like I said before, as few steps as possible is what you should be aiming for. You should take as few steps as possible for the user to complete their task. Whether that be changing the key bindings on their controller or setting the resolutions, etc. So in that case, I think I am just going to go ahead and optimize for fewer actions and do this. I'm going to assume that right now I'm just going to assume keyboard, mouse, and gamepad support, which is basically all we're going to support at the moment. Keyboard and mouse being the primary input style, and then like a gamepad, like if you have a PS4 controller, a 360 controller, a Steam controller. Well, Steam controller might be a little different actually. We'll have to see. I think there's a way to detect that. What? Maybe. Oh wait, Unreal refers to these as gamepads. Is controller assigned to gamepad? Returns true if controller ID assigned to a gamepad. Oh, that's Android only, so never mind. Not useful to us. But is listening for input action. I'm not sure if there's any sort of function for getting the kind of controller that's plugged in. Like, oh, a controller's plugged in, and like saying it's a Steam controller, it's a generic gamepad, it's a 360, it's a PS4. I don't really think the computer cares about those. I think that's all handled in the drivers for the controllers themselves. But I won't go too far down that road. But keyboard and mouse, that's the primary input method, and then controller, that's just going to be like 360 controller, PS4 controller, Xbox One X controller, whichever one you have, those controls should work either way, I think. But the bindings would look different. Because if you had a PS4 controller, then it'd be like, you know, X, triangle, square, circle. You'd have different options. Yeah, I'm not even sure how to do that. But let's not get too far down that road. We're thinking about the architecture of the menu here. Keyboard, mouse, and controller. I mean, yeah, we're gonna leave it at that for now. So I don't want to go 3 levels deep unless it ends up being better in some way. And right now I don't see the benefits. So at the game level, we would have, this would be settings like what was I saying before? Enable tutorials, and then like enable crosshair, stuff like that would go in the game section, game settings. What else would go in there? HUD, tutorials. Actually, I'm gonna call the tutorials hints. They're more hints than anything else. They're not very, we don't like in-your-face tutorials or too much hand-holding. They're really just gonna be prompts that, like, the first time you have a chance to do an action, it's gonna say, you know, press whatever button to do the thing. And you do the thing, and then it never pops up again. So, hints, I think, makes more sense there. So, I'm sure I'll think of some more stuff to put there. But keyboard and mouse, this is where key bindings would go. Key bindings, of course, are very important. People want to be able to customize their controls, because you never know what preferences people have. This is probably where I would also put like mouse invert and stuff like that. Mouse sensitivity. Definitely that. Invert, mouse look, important. Key bindings. Those are the big things I could think of there. Controllers, so then there you'd have key bindings. Probably have some invert stuff there as well. Invert what the thumbstick does, for example. Yeah, I can't invert. We'll say joystick, I guess. Joystick. It could be. Some people say joystick. Some people say thumbpad, thumbstick. Yeah. All right. So audio. Well, there's gonna be not a lot there, but some decent stuff. Let's say, so I want to have control of all the different volumes here. So there'll definitely be like a master volume, but I'd also want music volume, sound effects volume, what else? Subtitles would go here too. I don't know if we're actually, well, not really gonna be spoken dialogue. Well, in our gaming, but well, maybe a little bit. Master volume, music volume, sound effects volume, subtitles. And can't think of anything else off the top of my head right now, so I might just leave that. So, video settings. Oh boy, the big one. Goodness, I mean, there's gonna be a lot of settings in here. But it's important to recognize that a lot of settings that people want to tweak here. Geez, where do I even start? Well, definitely want to do like a window mode setting, so full screen, windowed, or windowed full screen, which is like a borderless full screen kind of thing. Maybe aspect ratio? Well, first of all, resolution. Hands down, resolution, window mode. V-sync, vertical sync. Field of view, that's a big one. Let's see. Motion blur, you want to be able to turn that on and off. Oh, I'm definitely going to be adding colorblind modes too, that'd be great. Anti-aliasing. Let's just go ahead really quick and get input. Oh wait, no. Get user settings. Alright, so video mode. We just want to set. Revert, of course, so like reset to being able to reset to the defaults. That's an important thing. Frame rate limit. Yeah. Anti-aliasing, audio quality level. Might have that then. View distance, visual effects, shadows, shadow quality, texture quality. Okay, so let's take a look. Oops. VSync, view distance, shadow, and texture quality. Let's write down those really quick. View distance, shadow quality, texture quality. Right. There's a bunch of other ones too, right? What do we got? What have we got? Foliage quality. Probably not going to need that in this game. Not really going to have any foliage, to my knowledge. Anti-aliasing, I got that. Frame rate limit. I don't think I put that. Yes, definitely want this. Frame rate limit. Visual effects quality. Post-processing quality. Yeah, okay. VFX quality. Post-processing quality. Okie dokie. This is good. Now, ambient occlusion. Should be able to control that. Depth of field too. I know some people like to turn that off. Let's see. Already got field of view, right? VSync, frame rate. What about filtering? Do I even have access to that here? No. Anti-aliasing. Anisotropic filtering is not available in the Blueprint API. At least that I can see. Maybe it's maybe it's called something less obvious in here. Like the name of the actual Blueprint node, you know? It might be something different. Oh, I could allow. Oh gosh. gamma, of course. That's a big one. I feel like I could also let them do maybe control chromatic aberration, but that's I don't know. A few of these are post-processing effects. I don't think it should be too hard to let you manipulate an individual post-process effect instead of just the whole post-process volume or post-process component. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to do that. This is interesting. Doom, the newer version, the new Doom that came out last year, has like an advanced video settings menu, a bunch of more detailed settings, but they only show up. They're all tucked away in this advanced menu, whereas the main video menu just has, like, you know, motion blur, gamma, colorblind, anti-aliasing, vertical sync, resolution, you know, window mode, field of view, all that stuff, and all of the other, like, more specific things are under this advanced menus, like decal quality, filtering, light quality, shadow quality, all that stuff. So that's pretty interesting. Player self shadow. It's kind of interesting, the idea of having that in a separate advanced settings menu. Don't know if I want to do that. Reflections. Reflections quality. Can I just access that? Reflections. I can't. I wonder. There's probably a way to just do that with the console variables, if I have to. Let's see. I feel like we've got a fairly comprehensive list of the video settings there. Yeah, that seems pretty good for now, honestly. So we're getting an idea of how this is going to be structured. Oh, so quit. The only thing I want to do here is when you quit, it's going to give you, I would like to prompt, you know, hey, are you sure you want to quit? Just in case you hit it by accident. So you can have a chance to change your mind. Confirmation prompt. Are you sure you want to quit to the desktop? Are you sure you want to quit to the desktop? Yeah. And then it would say yes or no. Okay. Reset to defaults. I feel like that should probably exist in every menu. Although, that would reset everything. I know there's a way to reset everything to defaults, but I don't know about just audio or just video or just controls. I don't think that's a thing. Oops. Reset to current settings. Resets all settings to the current system settings. Set to defaults. I wonder. What if I do get input settings? Is there a... Yes, there's no defaults there. Yeah, so I guess I won't worry about that for now. But I'm thinking it's going to be like a global reset to default, so it'd just be like a thing that's available on every settings page. So whether you're in video or audio or a game or a keyboard and mouse or controller, there would be an option at the bottom of the screen to press a certain button, like maybe R, to reset all of the options, all the settings to the defaults that the game came with. That's probably what I'll do. In that case, that would be like something new. That'd be like it'd be on the same level. It'd go in each page. It'd probably be available globally too, from the settings menu, where you can see all the second level, like keyboard and mouse, controller, audio, video. But it wouldn't be a choice you click on. Well, maybe it could be a choice actually. Let's just put it there at that top level. Reset to defaults. Okay. So, we're getting an idea of the architecture of our menu here. So I think at this point, what I'm going to do is go through these and figure out what types of setting, what type of widget or component each of these will be, so that I can start seeing patterns. So continue, that's just going to be text, like a button that has text on it, and you hover over it. Let's see. This belongs in a spreadsheet or table or something like that. I can make a table in here. Won't be quite as good as doing like a spreadsheet, so I may actually do a spreadsheet, but we'll see. We shall see. So let's see. Setting. Wait. Setting name. Setting type. But the issue here is I can have a table and all, but there won't be any like sorting. Yeah, you know what? Let me go hop over to my Google Drive really quick, because I think it would just make more sense to do this as a spreadsheet where I can actually filter stuff and sort by the highest or lowest, or I could group everything together by the type. Hold on, I gotta log in real quick. No. I wish Google would keep me logged in, but it asks for my credentials again every 30 days. Maybe it's just a security measure that's helpful, but it's also kind of frustrating too. So there's that. New Google Sheet. Let's do this. All right. Ionia menus system. Yeah. Components, I guess. No, this is just Ionia menu system. Okay, so setting name, setting type, setting. Let's do category, name, and type. So let's make a little bit of room here. This is, I realize this might be a little bit boring. If it is, definitely feel free to let me know, you guys. I know I was taking a little bit of a risk. I'm basically streaming, you know, a spreadsheets and Word docs at this point. But I promise you this will be worth it. If you find it boring, please just let me know. Because I knew I was taking a risk with this. If this proves to be a really bad idea, maybe I just won't stream this stuff in the future. I'll focus on more visual things. Or when I work on audio. Okay, so category, you've got main menu. And then we've got what? Oh, well, first of all, I will not have this aerial business. We're gonna do Roboto condensed. I like Roboto condensed. I actually do regular Roboto for the top level here. Oh no, I know what I want to do. I forgot how I like to style these. I know. Here I am, worrying about making my spreadsheet that I'm not even gonna stare at for very long, making it pretty. But this is what I do. I care a lot about my spreadsheets looking decent and being readable. Thankfully, I have some pretty simple styles to apply here. It won't take long. Hey. There we go. And then I'm gonna do centered. Actually, do I do center? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think I like that. Okay. Anyways. I guess I'll stick with normal Roboto. Condensed is a little hard to read on the stream. So, main menu category, and then what we've got, new game. Whoa. There we go. So, we got new game. We've got load game. We've got continue. We've got settings. And we've got quit. These are all going to be buttons with text labels. So I'm going to say, what should I call these? These are all buttons that are kind of in a list. I'll say list button. These are all list buttons. Actually, that sounds kind of weird. I'm just gonna call these buttons. These are just buttons. But, let's see. These are primary buttons, or should they... I might want some of these to be more emphasized than others, like the continue, for example. I might want it to kind of stand out a bit. But I'm gonna leave those as buttons for now. Ah. Labeled. Well, that sounds silly. What kind of button wouldn't be labeled? Alright. That's on the main menu. Let's see. So settings, we'll do game first. Game settings. Let me pull that document that I just wrote up over to the side here so I can actually read this at the same time. So far we've got enable hints. Well, let's say crosshair hints. This will be an enable disable. It'll be in that case it'll be like a, well, I could do this as a radio button style, or I could do a checkbox. I think a checkbox makes more sense. These will both be checkboxes. Enable hints. Let's say show hints. Show hints. Show crosshair. Okay. Now let's do keyboard mouse. Okay. And at this point we've got keyboard mouse. Okay, so key bindings, mouse sensitivity, invert mouse look. Okay. So, well, key bindings, that's just gonna be like these are, I think. Because it'll take you into a sub-menu. Or you know what? No. I think we're gonna do this differently. Let's, it's like key bindings, they're all gonna be... I think I'm actually going to list out all the key bindings just right there on the keyboard and mouse. Again, saving steps. You want to have as few steps as possible to accomplish a task in this menu. So it does feel kind of arbitrary to make you go settings, keyboard and mouse, key bindings, and then you're in like a third level down menu, where I could just go settings, keyboard and mouse, scroll down a bit, and then just choose my key bindings. They're right there. We're not gonna have a ton of key bindings on our game anyways, so I think that sounds like a much smarter approach. I'm gonna do it that way. So I just got this little ellipses here to just kind of denote to myself that there's kind of gonna have to be multiples of these. So all the key bindings, well, hold on. Mouse sensitivity, whoops, invert the mouse look, and that'll be a checkbox. Mouse sensitivity, this will be a slider. Or I could do a progress bar style. I wonder. Oh, but that doesn't have an input control though. Maybe I could figure something out with that. We'll say slider for now, because that's the kind of input I'm thinking. You slide a bar across, and I'll probably have a numerical output so you can see accurately what the FOV is. You know, 70, 80, 90, etc. Key bindings will be a different type. That's gonna display, hey, Zero, how's it going? You're just in time for perhaps my most boring stream ever. Spreadsheets. Hopefully I won't be in the spreadsheet for too long, but I'm basically just doing some, you'd probably understand since you've done web design stuff. I'm basically like kind of doing an inventory of the settings, the UI, all of the widgets, and figuring out like what type of widget they'll all be, getting a sort of a feel for that. But hopefully it won't be in here for too long, but I do think this is probably going to take up the majority of today's stream, so, you know. I knew I was taking a risk streaming something like this, streaming something kind of boring and not so visual, but I figured people would let me know if they thought like, hey, this is terrible, please don't ever do this again. You gotta try different things, right? Plus I'm trying to stream as much of the process as I can, so if it ends up not working out, I just won't do it as much in the future, perhaps. Alright, so key bindings, these are gonna be like, I think there's actually just a special kind of widget that they've got for that. No, I knew it. I knew this was a bad idea. Where is this? I know that there is there's something here. There is it a panel? Oh no, you know what? Input. Here we go. No, it's not in there. Oh, spin box, that's the name of that thing I was talking about earlier. Expandable area, uncategorized. Ah, here it is. Input key selector. Yeah, see, there's a special kind of widget here for doing input rebinding. Yeah, Zero, spin box is like here, I'll just show you. It's like when you see, oh goodness, this looks terrible. I could just, okay, I need to put this inside of a panel of some sort so it's not so ridiculous looking. Canvas, that'll work. All right, spin box. So this is what Unreal thinks of as a spin box. So, you know, it's got the little the little carrots over here, and a number value, and you do this, right? Let's say minimum, maximum value, right? Yeah, like a number spinner where you can drag the number up and down exactly. And then somebody could come in here and do this. So I might actually want to, maybe I'll actually use a spin box for a clamped spin box. I might use that for the FOV, if I can make it look nice. That part I'm not sure about. How some of these widgets are hard to customize visually, so yeah. Yes, like most of Unreal's UI. I mean, look at them all. These are all spin boxes over here. And there's so many of them. So many spin boxes. Yes, I think you can. I think you can set it to be only a single decimal place. Even if I can't, I can clamp it. If I can't do it here, I can always clamp it in the script. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that there is a, let's see, slider, the amount by which to change the spin box value as the slider moves. The exponent by which to increase the delta as the mouse moves. One is constant, never increases the delta. Is that how I do that, I wonder? I wouldn't have worded it that way, so I'm a little confused. But yeah, I could just clamp it if I wanted to. I don't like, this might actually be bad for the FOV anyway, because I don't want the decimal to show for FOV, since you're not going to be using a decimal. It's kind of weird. Ah, I see the delta, how interesting. So the delta is only updating the visible slider bar there when it's 1.0, when it's in increments of 1. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, there's other controls that are better for that. There's a combo box, but there's a slider, and I think I'm just gonna use a slider for FOV. That would make more sense. It's ugly out of the box, but you can make it look nice. You can orient it vertically or horizontally, which is nice. Yeah, I'm just gonna probably just use that for the FOV. That spin box, I'm not sure if I'll use that for anything, honestly. It's kind of hideous. But we'll see. Anyway, key bindings, they've got their own thing, so we'll say input key selector. That's its own special. I don't need to put input key selector. That's got its own special widget type, so that'll be unique. That's all of that for now. Let's see. Next category. Controller. Whoops, there's not 3 L's in controller. So I guess invert look. This isn't mouse look, so I guess I would say like invert. Yeah, I'll say invert look for this. For the controller. And again, we'll make that a checkbox. Controller, I guess I might want to do like a dead zone control there. I'm not sure. I guess we'll see. Of course there are 4 L's in controller. Oh, Almus, crack me up. Cracking me up. Out of control. Ah, that was a bad one. That was a bad one. Even I admit that was a bad one. Alright. This is all I've got in mind right now for controller. So I'm gonna leave, and I'm gonna leave that for now. So audio. We've got master volume, music volume, sound effects volume. Let's see here. Subtitles. This would be like subtitles on or off. So I guess I'll say show subtitles, and that will probably be a checkbox. Master volume, I think that will be a slider. All the volumes will be sliders, I would say. Subtitles, show subtitles, and then what? So subtitle language. That would probably be like a drop down or something like that. Quadruple consonant cluster, double gemination. You should try those names, have a volume subcategory, then just list master music and effects. Well, yeah, I could do that visually, like with headings, right? But I might do that with headings, but I definitely don't want to have like where you go to audio and you have to click through to a volume subsection. I think that would be bad. Because again, I'm trying to minimize the amount of actions it takes to get to to do a task. But visually, like with like headings, subheadings for different sections on the audio page, yeah, like that, I'm totally all for that. And I'll probably be doing that. Subtitle language would be like, oh gosh. I wonder what that would be. Subtitle language, some sort of, isn't there like just a selector? Not the spin box, but let's see, checkbox, a named slot. It allows you to expose an external slot for your user widget. When others reuse your user control, they can put whatever they want in this named slot. I'm not sure I understand that. Panels, here, get out of here. Primitive, editable text, menu anchor, spacer, throbber, background blur, of course. I guess I'll probably do a combo box, which is a drop-down menu. That seems to make the most sense out of the options I've got here. But I could also construct kind of my own get one of my own I could make one of my own kind of widgets and then create like a selector where you have a word in the middle, and you know where they have like the word in the middle and then they have the little arrows on the left and right. I might do something like that. That's harder to get looking nice though, because then the middle choice, it's not scalable unless you scale it up and down to accommodate any length of text. But then the arrows move around and I don't like that, so I might not take that approach. I guess in that case I'm just gonna say a drop down for now. This seems to make the most sense, unless I can think of something better. Drop down, let's say a drop down or selector, because I'm undecided there. Yeah, if I have a horizontal group, I could do that. Yeah. How do I get one of those GLHF icons? I need to collect them all. GLHF icons, like GLHF, like good luck, have fun. What icons are you talking about? I'm intrigued. Like Twitch icons, or do I have something in Unreal? Tell me your secrets, Zero. I'm not sure what icons you're talking about. Oh. Oh, I see. GLHF pledge. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna find out. Oh, if you click on it, it tells you. If you click on the badge 0, it tells you what it is. It's the GLHF pledge from any key. What is this about? I pledge my support. What is this, I wonder? Used among players, video game players, to express goodwill and sportsmanship. Interesting. So it's like it's just like a pledge to be a good sport and spread positivity and speak up against hate speech and stuff in gaming, I guess. That's pretty cool. I haven't heard about this before. Huh. Well, there you go. That's what it is. So if you could do that, you can get your badge and show your support for positive gaming communities. Okay. Video settings. Let's take a look at what we've got. So what do I have written down so far? So resolution. Definitely drop down or selector. Window mode, same thing, drop down or selector. Because I could have three. I'd probably have the options there would probably be windowed full screen or windowed full screen. Windowed full screen is basically it's full screen, but it's like borderless windowed mode, where it's full screen. But it's like it acts like a window, so you can alt tab away from it and stuff like that. I really appreciate games that do that, so I'm gonna try and do that in our game as well. Okay, VSync. That's gonna be a checkbox. That's on or off. Field of view. That's gonna be a slider. Motion blur. Checkbox on or off. Colorblind mode. These are kind of in a weird order. That's fine. I'll figure out the order later. Right now, I'm just kind of getting an inventory of all the different options. Colorblind mode. That's going to be a drop down or selector. Anti-aliasing. Same thing. View distance. Drop down or selector. Okay, it's gonna be a lot of drop down selectors here. Shadow quality, texture quality, VFX quality, post processing quality. Okay, now gamma, that's probably going to be, that would be like a numerical kind of slider, but I'm still going to say that that's a slider kind of interface. Depth of field, that's going to be a checkbox, like an on or off option. Ambient occlusion, same thing, on or off checkbox. Frame rate limit, that's going to be a selector or drop down, whichever one I choose. And then of course we have reset to defaults. So settings, reset to defaults. That's gonna be a button with a prompt that says, are you sure you want to reset to defaults? That's definitely a thing that I wouldn't want people to do accidentally. So oh, it doesn't stack with your cheer emoji. Oh goodness. I guess you have a maximum of 3 chat emojis. Bummerific. You were so close. You're so close, you had it. It's cool though. Little key, the little any key sitting next to your name. I like it. Alright, so let's see, what do we got? Buttons, checkboxes, sliders, key selector, and a drop-down selector. I think that's it. So was that 5 different types? Your dreams are crushed. Oh man. Let's see. So we've got a button. Probably gonna be different types of buttons too, but for now I'm just gonna say like a base button. Button checkbox. I'm not using a radio button yet. Wonder if any of these would be better as a radio button. I think the way you do that here is there's a you use the checkbox, but you turn on like something. Oh wait, maybe not. Oh. Maybe there isn't a radio button anyways. Huh. I guess I could always make that myself if I wanted to. That'd be pretty easy to make a radio button widget. Okay. So button, checkbox, slider. It could be in the style section, although that tends to just be like visual, like, oh, huh, you're right. I did not expect this. I'm used to the other stuff, you know, usually the style section is just like what images or colors do you use for the states, like hovered, disabled, etc. But there it is, checkbox type. So there we go. Now, oh God, what have you done? Toggle button. Why is it so hideous? Size. Checked or unchecked. So you can do custom images for all the styles here. But all these image properties, they take materials too. So I could make my own scalable oh man, I didn't think about that. Using materials to create my own kind of sort of like a stand-in for SVGs, making scalable checkbox graphics and stuff like that. Huh. Yeah. That might be something worth doing for the marketplace. Like a little UI pack with materials for making these all resolution independent graphics. Because this is, yeah, bitmap based. Vectors are a thing, but not in UI. Typically, like you can't import like an SVG or something like that and then bring that on and add that to like a UI widget and expect it to just work. But you can create vectors. You can create vectors in materials, in shaders. That's how I did my crosshair, the new crosshair. That is a vector graphic. Yeah, Zero, it has something to do with the way that they scale. They mentioned this on their Twitch stream before. Somebody asked, like, why isn't there SVG support? They said it was something to do with the way that they wrote their UI framework. Something to do with the way that it scales, the way that it scales runtime, the way that it scales widgets at runtime or something like that. I don't recall off the top of my head right now, but it was a little more complex than that. But they had a reason for why there was no SVG support, and it sounded like it would be pretty complex to add that in. So I think the better solution in this case is that because I mean, like, obviously all of this UI, I can't imagine that all of this UI for Unreal is you know, bitmaps. I'm sure some of this stuff, like the orange highlight for example, those could be bitmaps, like the old school style where you have like the corner slices and then you draw you duplicate a middle section in between. Oh my god, you remember doing stuff like that for websites? Oh, it's a bad flashback. Bad flashback. I don't want to go back to those days. Those days are behind us. You have nightmares about slicing images. Oh my god, seriously, the way we used to do buttons in Photoshop instead of in CSS. Oh. I need like a CSS style equivalent for UI. That'd be so cool to just like edit a bunch of properties without having to do any bitmap stuff at all. That'd be sweet. For UI in particular. But what was I gonna do? I was gonna show you materials. The crosshair here. Yeah, see this? My crosshair, that's a vector circle, so like if I come in here, where's my little demo map I've been playing in? So when I play here, you know, my crosshair, it's like normal size right now. But if I, where is it? Here we go. If I come in here and I do like 48 by 48. Oops, I do not want to save that. It gets bigger and it's not blurry. In fact, let's get really over the top here. 128 by 128 still scales the same. The edge is soft on purpose, by the way. That is not, here, I'll just, let me just turn off that softening just so you can really see that this is a crisp, oops, that this is a crisp circle. Look at that. No matter how big it is. So yeah, pretty stoked about being able to do that. And yeah, I agree, Zero, the material editor is incredible. It really is. It's to me, the material editor is one of those killer features for Unreal. One of the things that it has over its competition. Having a material editor this powerful out of the box is just massive. I think I had this at, I might have actually had it at 8 by 8. Yeah, I think I did. That looks right. You watched the Paragon dev video about how they repurpose all their materials to streamline their process for designers. Mind-blowing. I'm not sure if I've seen that. Can you link that in chat, Zero? Because I think I've seen that, but I'm not positive that if I'm thinking of the same video. But I can imagine what you're thinking of, and I can imagine that it's I can imagine why it would be mind-blowing for you, because the material system in Unreal can do some very sophisticated things. Sweet. Thanks for posting that. Ah, it was one of their streams. Or no, this is from Unreal Dev Day Montreal. Ah. Okay. Character texturing pipeline. Which, by the way, like the whole graphics pipeline for Paragon is mind-blowing to me. They've really pushed out some incredible fidelity, really incredibly high fidelity characters, especially for running on console on PS4 and maintaining like 60 frames per second. It's really something else. Sweet, I am adding that to my watch later list. I'm probably gonna watch that tonight. I love watching stuff like this. Ah, Zero, I think what you're referring to is material functions. that is a huge time saver, because there are already some material functions built in, but you can make your own. Like you can come under materials here and go material function, my mat function, right? And then you can come in here, you can create your own material function, and then it'll appear as your own custom node here. It's phenomenal. It really is. Let's see. Palette, here we go. Yeah, like if you come in here, expressions, functions. There's all sorts of cool. Did you know that there's material functions in here for all the blend modes that are in Photoshop? Color burn, color dodge, darken, difference, exclusion, hard light. They're pretty much all here. It's really cool. So you can just drag this in. You got blend overlay or darken or pin light. It's awesome. Love this stuff. But yeah, material functions, I mean, these things are so powerful. Drag it in, you can set up all the inputs, you know. I mean, those things are something else, you know. Major time savers. Alright, so back to this little inventory thing here. Button, checkbox slider, key selector. Options. I'm gonna say option selector for these drop down things. Some of these, they might be drop downs, but I'm thinking I might go with the option selector style instead. I'm a little worried about that, but I mean the drop down would have the same problem of fitting text inside of that box, and like text being too long and clipping. So I'm not entirely sure how to do that, but I think I might just, I like the clean look of the option selector, where you got the text label, the little option in the middle, and little arrows on left and right, and you click left and click right. I might do that. Drop downs might be clearer though, because they have the advantage of like you click it and you can see every option. So there's advantages to both. There's advantages to both. Button, option selector, checkbox slider, key selector. So I think we only have 5 different types right now. Feels kind of like a slightly slimmed down version of Substance Designer, though of course slightly different purpose. Yeah, it is very similar. In fact, it's similar enough that for a long time I did not understand why I would want Substance Designer when I already have the material editor in Unreal. And one day, I forgot what video I saw something that finally made it click for me, that the difference is, in Substance Designer, it's a similar interface, but what you're doing is you're actually procedurally generating the maps, the texture maps that you would put into Unreal for your materials, which means that you don't need like bitmap, like photos, or like you don't need you don't need to go find, you know, texture bitmaps online, like buy them or take your own photos. You don't need to do that. You create them procedurally in Substance Designer, and then you export them, and they can export it whatever size you need. And then there's even a Substance Designer plugin that lets you manipulate you can set up custom parameters in Substance Designer in your substances. That's what they call the materials, in Substance, the shaders. You can set up parameters in there, and then you can have like an asset in Unreal with the Substance plugin that lets you like manipulate those parameters at runtime, like just the same way that you do with material instances in Unreal, where you can, you know, move sliders and see the materials change in real time in the viewport. And Substance Designer has become pretty darn affordable. Like there's like an indie plan where you can do like $19 a month, and it's pay to own. So like after so many months of paying $19 a month, if the total amount you've paid in so far adds up to the total cost of a license, of a perpetual license for the current version of Substance Designer, you could just buy it. You just get it outright. Buy it outright. Get a license to that version of Substance Designer, which is pretty cool. I kind of wish that people like Adobe would do that too. All right, so it turns out we've got 5 different types of widgets. So basically, what'll be happening is I will be making these 5 widget components separately. I'll be making my own, so I'll be coming in here and creating like separate widgets. My own custom button widget, the selector widget, the checkbox widget. And it'll have, like, my checkbox widget will have the checkbox already styled the custom way that I want, and with the text next to it, and with a spacer in between that you can say like how big it was. Actually, but yeah, it'll have a spacer in between, and you'll just be able to drop it into a vertical box or horizontal box inside of a grid, and it'll just, like, you can set it to fill, and it'll just take up that space and already work. And then there'll be maybe some parameters. I think I'll use parameters of some sort, so you can say what the text content should be. But yeah, should be pretty easy to set that up. Doing it this way takes a little longer up front, but then in the end, my future self is going to thank me for doing all of this work up front before actually building this complex menu. Yeah, you should play around with UMG. With your web experience, I think you'll enjoy it. There's gonna be some, well, I mean, enjoy. You'll enjoy what you're able to do with it. Of course, when it comes to the actual stuff you could do in it, it might take some getting used to, since you're used to like CSS, HTML, PHP, JavaScript, a lot of things that are different, but your knowledge will definitely pay out. It'll definitely help out. It'll come in handy. There is actually, there's a few actually. There's a few third-party plugins that are like third-party UI frameworks that let you create UI for your Unreal games in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Just so you know, that's a thing. I don't know how like well supported they are. But they're out there. I think there's like Coherent UI and Blue BLUI, Bluey, something like that. Yeah, I'm gonna link them in chat. There's a couple. There's Blue UI. And then, let's see, I think there's Coherent Labs. They've got something. Oh, they've changed their stuff a little bit. Coherent GT, I think this is what it is. Oh god, their pricing is probably scary. I'll link this anyways, but their pricing is probably, the licensing is probably scary because they don't list, it just says request a free demo. It doesn't list the pricing on their page, so yeah, that always scares me. I'm like, that's probably not a good sign. Probably like thousands of dollars or something ridiculous. But yeah, that is an option. That's a thing. You can do HTML menus and stuff. Yeah, that sounds like, please call me up to sell me on this expensive thing. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm expecting. Anytime they don't put pricing on the website, they say please try a free demo. Like, yeah, okay. So the license is probably like $10,000 per product per year or something crazy like that. No thanks. No, thank you. I'd rather just deal with whatever shortcomings UMG has and use that, because it's built in, baby. And that is a big selling point. Alright, so really quick before I go, I'm probably gonna stop soon. It's already 6:30. Goodness. I did start late though. But really quick, I'm gonna do an inventory of the pause menu and just get an idea of the differences here. So the pause menu is gonna start with resume, just resuming the game. And then the rest is gonna largely be the same. Well, except for new game and load game, those won't be there. Yeah, I saw that, Zero. I saw the PUBG uses coherent. Is that game's UI any good? I don't know. I haven't played PUBG yet, actually, so I'm a bad person to ask. I have no idea. Now, the pause menu, I wonder. The title screen has a quit button, right? Of course, you're already on the main menu, so you'd want to quit to the desktop there. But when you're paused, when you're playing in the game and you're paused, you might want to quit to the main menu, or you might want to quit to straight to desktop. So I'm thinking I might do both of those, so the players have the option. Quit to main menu, quit to desktop. Yeah, I think I do. All right. I'm not gonna list all the settings here again because I already know those are gonna be in there right up there. So yeah, resume, settings, quit to main menu, and quit to desktop. That'll be the pause menu, and in the settings menu, it'll be pretty much the same. I can't see any reason why any of the settings will be different. As far as I know, all of the settings can be changed at runtime with no adverse effects. We'll see how that goes in practice, but that's what I'm expecting. Yeah, that should be good. So, I think I've got a pretty good setup going here. Got a good idea of the complexity of my UI now. Different types of widgets I'll need. Next step in the process will probably be figuring out a style, maybe creating a small style guide for the UI, so that every widget has a consistent style, consistent look and feel. And so one question: how do you transition between levels in UE4? There are a couple of ways of doing that. You can just you can simply open a level. So like this, for example, you can just do open level and then type in the name level, and then that will just, you know, stop the game and open that next level, and you've got like a frozen screen while the level is loading up. And then when it finishes loading, then you know that level actually kicks off and whatnot. But you could also use level streaming and potentially do seamless transitions, where let's say that this place here is like a big the persistent map. Then the streaming maps would be like all the different levels to go to. So you could theoretically set it up so that you have a door here. Then when I click on it, it like loads in the next map, and then like plays a transition effect on the screen. Or without even a transition, you could set it up so that there's like a door, and when you try to open it, it loads in the next map, and when the map is done loading in, then the door opens and the map is behind it, and then when you go through and close the door, then this map would like load out. But with this stuff being, so I lied a little bit. This wouldn't be, in that case, this would not, what you see visually would not be the persistent map. This would also be streamed in, because then if you don't do that, then you wouldn't be able to unload this. That's the advantage of doing level streaming, is it lets you load and unload levels. And a level can be just a chunk of a place. What you think of in the game as a level could be a large area that consists of multiple level assets in Unreal. Especially because, like for example, we split our levels up between sections, and we also like put audio on a separate level, because that way I can like you work on audio placement in the same at the same time that Jess is working on art in the same level. So that's another advantage of doing level streaming. Even if you don't do seamless transitions in your game, being able to it enables some new collaboration options for your team, and that is quite helpful. Be especially helpful if you're working on a larger team. But even just for the two of us, just me and Jess, it's proven to be helpful, because I can work on a section of the same level. We could both work on the same level, but just in different sections, in different areas, without stepping on each other's toes. All right. And how do you transfer data between those levels? You transfer data between levels using a class called the game instance. So this is a special blueprint class. I'll do it here in my dev folder. You have to search for it. It's not one of these common class options. If you go down here to the search and you type in game instance, you'll see you have this option here, game instance. And the reason you would use this for transferring data between levels is because the game instance object persists between levels. Even if you do open level, like use the open level node and just like completely load a completely new persistent level and don't use seamless transitions, this game instance object persists until the game is shut down. So that is your best bet for transferring data between levels. The game instance is probably where you'd want to be like saving player coordinates, player progress, and things like that, scores and ammo, anything you want to save or transfer between levels and be persistent throughout the whole game. You probably want to be getting and setting that in the game instance. I notice you have checkpoints in now. Is that a system or just some debug volumes for now? I've had checkpoints in the game for... We've had checkpoints in the game for quite a while. But these are just custom blueprints. It actually needs some work, to be honest, but they still work. So yeah, it's just a custom blueprint. It's got a volume for the trigger area, and then I've got an arrow just kind of showing me, just helping me visualize which way you're going to be facing when you respawn there. And then I got this little icon on here just to help me differentiate, like to show, oh, it's a checkpoint. I thought it looked like a checkpoint. This actually is some icon that came with the engine. I don't know what it is for originally, but I've never seen it before. And it reminds you of a checkpoint, so it's just like a little signpost with an arrow. But yeah, so I just have this custom blueprint, and then in the game mode, I'm when I do the respawning stuff, I just get what was the last one you overlapped, and that's where I respawn you. So if I jump over here. See how it says checkpoint in the middle of the screen? That's I just crossed over that checkpoint. So now if I fall off the edge, I respawn there. Likewise, if I come over to this one, whoops. Then now, when I fall, I respawn there. No, don't apologize, Zero. I love when you guys ask questions. It's fine. It makes the stream fun, and this is kind of part of why I do this. So don't feel bad about it. How do you remember the last one you hit? So right now I'm doing this. Don't remember why, because again, this script is pretty old. But I'm doing this in the game mode, I think. Where is my game mode? Yeah, I'm doing this in the game mode. When the game starts, I'm getting let's see. I'm getting all the checkpoints, right? And then I could do this so much better now, but this is for the sake of argument, this is how, excuse me. My nose is a little runny tonight. It is cold, so. But anyways, forgive the old code. I really need to redo this, but priorities. So what I'm doing here is I have a blueprint interface, and when I die, I believe I'm sending off that interface message. Where's my Here we go. Yeah, I have it unhooked right now, but wait, hold on a second. If that's unhooked, oh yeah. So I'm using a blueprint interface to send out set checkpoint, which is when I overlap this checkpoint, it is calling out that message. It's setting this as the active checkpoint basically, and then when I die, when I respawn, it's looking for which one is the active checkpoint basically, and then that's where it's gonna come here. And right now I have it set to teleport instead of actually respawning me. So I'm not actually destroying the character, I'm actually just teleporting it to the respawn point. And I actually have some basic code in here setups so that if you haven't hit a checkpoint yet, it'll just respawn you at the player start basically. But yeah, that's essentially what I'm doing right now. Let's see, 6:38. I should probably stop here. The game mode object 0 is basically, there's a lot of confusion around like game mode versus game instance and game state and all these classes. But the important thing to remember is game instance is the only one that persists throughout the entire game life cycle and doesn't go away until you close the game, until you exit the game. And game mode, whether you script, even if you don't script anything in here, like I have, I could easily just, I should probably do this elsewhere, but this is what I did at the time when I was still learning. Even if you don't script anything in here, the main purpose of the game mode is to define a set of rules for a game type. Like, so you would have, if you had a game with like survival mode, you know, time attack, you know, sudden death, different modes, deathmatch or whatever, then you'd have one of these game mode objects for each of those, and each one would define its own rules. And the main purpose, that is, even if you don't do anything custom like that, your game mode is where you're going to define excuse me, all the classes that you use. So right here in my game mode is where I'm defining what HUD class to use, what the default pawn is, what the player controller, the game state. You define all of that in here. You can override that on a per map basis. You can come into world settings of this map and say, you know, game mode override, and choose a different game mode for this level. But the game, when you create a custom game mode like that, I mean, like I said, you could have multiples, but I just have the one, and then I come into the maps and modes thing, and you can set the default game mode for your whole game. This is just the global default game mode that any new map you make in this project will use this game mode by default. Then you're not having to set the player controller and all that stuff every time. You're trying to visualize all the logic, which logic goes in which one of all. Yeah, it can be tough to visualize sometimes because there's a lot to keep track of, but once you use each one at least once, then it makes perfect sense, I think. Yes, yeah, I personally like the structure that's built into Unreal as well. Yeah, see, I know a lot of people that like Unity for exactly that reason. They like that Unity is like more bare bones out of the box and lets them just get to work building their own custom whatever. I don't. Personally, I prefer Unreal's approach, where there's a really robust framework out of the box. And a lot of the basic stuff is already taken care of for you, or there's tools to help you along. I prefer that approach personally. So that was one of the things that has always attracted me to Unreal versus Unity, was getting that more robust out of the box experience. All right. Let's see. I've got some stuff to do before I make dinner, so I think I'm gonna call it here. But I'm glad I finally got this down. This kind of an inventory of all the different widgets that'll be involved, and now I have an idea of the different types, which should be only 5, maybe give or take. You know, maybe something else will come up, or I'll change my mind about these option selectors and want to do drop downs. In which case, drop downs are kind of a pain because you have to do some custom work to make them styled correctly. Unless they've changed that, I haven't played with them in quite a while. Maybe they fixed that by now, but we'll see. So we've got our widget inventory here, and I think this is like the main thing I wanted to do today anyways. I really just wanted to get this down so I know I can look at this and kind of get an idea of like, okay, like how complex the settings menu is going to be, how many different custom widgets I'm going to be making and then reusing. So I guess next time I stream, hopefully tomorrow, I think I'll have time to stream tomorrow, I will get to work on a style guide, figuring out the look and feel for each of these widgets so that everything has a consistent style. And that'll be fun. That'll be more interesting to look at than a spreadsheet. I liked it when I had zero clue what I was doing and just pissing around, but as soon as I started gaining enough knowledge to see the flaws of Unity, I decided to give Unreal another go, inspired by your streams. Awesome. And I was on Team Unreal just a day after that. That's how it goes for some people. Sometimes you're just like, whoa, okay, why wasn't I using this the whole time? Sometimes, whatever your preference is, it'll just click for you. Every time I learn something new about Unreal, it's another feature or system that just reinforces my decision to make the switch. Well, that's great. That's great. So it sounds like you're having a good time so far. It sounds like so far, based on your experience so far, it sounds like Unreal is probably the choice for you. Seems to be working out pretty well. That's always a good feeling when you're using not just game development software, but like graphic design software, photo editing software, any kind of like big complex software. It's always really nice when you find the one that like clicks with you, where the logic and all the decisions and the UI and the UX all make sense to you, and you just get comfortable, and then you can just focus on getting better at it and making your stuff, and that's the best. Because sometimes it can be overwhelming. I don't know about you, but like I try a lot of project management tools. I have tried so many over the years, like Trello, Asana, got Flow. There's so many out there. There's like a billion of them. And I think consequently because of that, I don't really feel like I'm a master of any of them. We've been using Trello for a while now, so I feel like I'm pretty good with Trello, but I feel like I could be better, you know what I mean? Unreal, I made the decision a long time ago to specialize in Unreal, and I'm thankful for that because now I don't know much about Unity anymore because I haven't used it in years. I don't know much about CryEngine for the same reason. But if you give me Unreal, like I know enough that I could teach somebody how to do something in Unreal. And there's a lot, and it's a big complicated piece of software. So knowing so much of the basics and the foundational stuff, just by heart, by memory, makes it a lot easier to dive in and start building more interesting and more advanced things. Plus, I know some people will say otherwise, but I feel like Unreal has a pretty awesome community, and the team at Epic Games is like super into supporting that community. They're always reaching out. They're always having game jams. They have their weekly Twitch streams. We've got meetups. They're supporting us. They're supporting the community meetups on meetup.com. I mean, they really go the extra mile for their community, and it shows. Anyways, all right, I'm gonna call the stream here. This was good progress. I got done what I wanted to get done today. Let me title this really quick: widget inventory. And next time we stream, hopefully tomorrow, we'll get to work on some visual styling for the UI widgets. And once that's done, then I'll have like a style guide set up. Once the style is set up, then I can actually, at that point, I think then I will finally start building the UI, starting with building out these individual custom widgets, and then going into building the larger settings panel, and then in there, bringing in copies of my custom widgets there and going from there. and then building out the actual functionality for what each of the buttons and stuff does. I'm looking forward to it. This is great. Let's see. I'm incredibly impressed by all of their efforts from the staff. Yeah, me too. That's what I'm saying. I made the jump from Sublime to Visual Studio Code a few months ago, relating this back to web dev stuff. It took a while to get all the things customized and add-ons set up for what I needed. Yeah, I know what that feels like, but it's been a favorable change there too. I've heard a lot of great things about Visual Studio Code. I've used it a few times, and there are a couple of things that I like better about it, but overall, I haven't been compelled to switch. I use Atom personally. That's my code editor of choice. I've been using Atom for like a couple years since it was in beta, and I really like it a lot. It sounds silly, but it's totally silly. But one of the things that I like about Atom over Visual Studio Code is I like Atom's I like that Atom has a GUI, has a visual interface for configuring the settings for the IDE. Well, it's not really an IDE, but for the code editor. I don't like that Visual Studio is more like Sublime Text, where you're editing a config file, which is like, it's fine, but I strongly prefer the visual interface method, like what Atom has. Functionally, they're very similar, and actually, like one of the things that I find compelling about Visual Studio Code is that it seems to have much better autocomplete and IntelliSense stuff. Atom is definitely getting better, but out of the box, Visual Studio Code seems to be better at that. So that's one thing that I'm kind of jealous of. But otherwise, I guess they're really similar. I like making themes for Atom too. I haven't made a theme for our Visual Studio Code yet, but I might, because my most popular Atom theme has I think I've gotten a couple of requests to make a Visual Studio Code version. So I might do that when I release the next update. Yeah, so IntelliSense and the way it does updates, that's the main reason you switched too. Yeah, understandable. The IntelliSense is really good. I've considered switching for the IntelliSense twice now, but I just can't get over the UI quirks and the different UX. It's hard for me to get used to it, so I haven't really been able to make the switch and stick with it. But I've tried it out a few times. I try out Visual Studio Code, like, I feel like once every few months or something like that. I kind of just play with it just to see, like, can I switch to it yet? How do I like this? And so far not quite, not there yet. But it's a great editor. It's really cool, and I think it's cool that Microsoft even made it in the first place, honestly. They've been doing some pretty awesome stuff the past few years, I gotta say. Well, personally, I think Windows 10 is, in a lot of ways, not one of them. I mean, to be fair, Windows 10 has a lot of great features, but there are quite a few things about Windows 10 that really drive me nuts. Microsoft makes some weird decisions, but they've been, in the open source arena, they've been making some really cool stuff. The only thing I miss is the far more robust multi-cursor stuff from Sublime. It exists in VS Code, but not quite there yet. That's pretty boring. That's pretty lame. I could definitely, I would have trouble getting, I think I've noticed that too, because Atom has good multi-cursor support. I don't know how it compares to Sublime, because I haven't used Sublime in quite a while. But I remember loving it. It seems good enough for my purposes, at least. And, man, one of my favorite things you could do in Atom is... I think you could do it in Visual Studio Code, too. But I love how you can... I'm just going to pop up on Atom really quick, because it's easier to show than to tell. Oh no, no project. I need a project. Yeah, sure. How about my Discord bot? I love how you can just select a word or a phrase, right? And then hit Control D, and it just selects the next instance of it, and it keeps going until it selects all of them. Stuff like that is just major productivity time saver. I love it. That stuff is the best. All right. Well, I could easily talk about code editors pretty much all night, but I shouldn't. I've got dinner to make, and I've got some more cleaning to do, laundry, and a couple of other bits of work I want to do too before dinner. I got stuff to do, man. I got stuff to do. So, I think I'm gonna call it here. Alright, so today was Tuesday. No worries, Zero. I'm easily distracted if it's an interesting topic to me. If it's something I care about, I am so easily distracted. So I'm gonna call it here just to be safe, just to stop myself from going on another tangent. Today's Tuesday. I don't think I have any particular plans for tomorrow afternoon, so expect a stream tomorrow. I should be streaming tomorrow, and again, tomorrow we'll be getting into doing the visual styles for the UI widgets, and then after that, once the visual style is done, then we'll start building out those base components, and then constructing our settings pages out of that. It'll be exciting. I'm looking forward to doing it. Looking forward to having a much nicer menu, especially looking forward to having custom key bindings. That's going to be so awesome, especially for testing, allowing our testers to be able to customize the controls however the heck they want. And the graphics too, good for troubleshooting. Oh man, I'm excited. So, I guess I will... Yes, you were distracted too. Yes, tomorrow. So tomorrow, I'm going to stream tomorrow. Probably a little earlier than I did today. Normal time, like 2 or 3 p.m. Pacific time in the afternoon. Yeah, so tomorrow, visual styles for the UI, for the base UI widgets. That's what we're doing. Let's see. If you want to get notified as soon as I go live, just make sure you follow me here on Twitch, and then it'll tell you as soon as I go live. If you want to say hi or get other updates, follow me on Twitter. I'm gonna link that in chat because I still have not set up my bot to do all this stuff for me. Bad streamer. 3 O's. Yeah, that's my Twitter. You can follow me there if you want to say hi or just chat about game development also or whatever, and get more frequent updates than just the push notification when I go live on Twitch. And I guess that's it for now. Thanks a lot for tuning in. It was a lot of fun, and I will see you guys tomorrow. So when we do the visual styles for the widget. Until then, I'll see you later.